The following video is content made on a game rated M for mature by the Entertainment Software Ratings Board and is meant for an adult audience. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me here today for another MCC Halo Reach Development update. There's a lot of information to get through here, so let's go ahead and jump in. Now, the following information comes from Halo Waypoint under the news section with the headline MCC Development Update November 2019. I do recommend, if you guys are interested, to go ahead and check out the full article, as I'm only pulling what I feel are the most important parts. And as always, the link will be in the description. Now, with the last flight that took place being on PC and having the most content out of any of the previous flights on Xbox or the PC with 2 campaign missions, firefight, and multiplayer, we're going to go ahead and go over the information here provided by 343. Now, the information reads as follows. For most of the month of November, 343 flighted Halo Reach on PC. This flight began all the way back on October 29th and ended on November 18th. And 343 Industries learned a lot from the current flight. They met the goals that they were targeting from the beginning, as well as additional ones put in place with the extensions during the flight. Participants helped in more ways than they can imagine, from checking the fixes that were implemented to stress testing underlying systems to helping validate updating a live product in all the ways that it can be done on the back end. Flight 3 was a success. Since the announcement of the release date, which is December 3rd, there has been a lot of discussions in the community around topics of interest from the flight. Specifically, there are several key areas where players would like to see improvements, and they want to assure everyone that the core Halo Reach experience is shaping up great for both Xbox One and PC. The team has been working hard on these issues and areas and aiming to bring additional updates and features to the game post-launch as they continue to improve the MCC over time. 343 would like to thank the community who helped in participating in the flights. Over the course of the entire flight, users submitted the better part of 3,000 individual tickets via the Halo support site. Because the reports on the Halo support site, they've been able to pinpoint bugs encountered ahead of launch, which is that's amazing. From this flight, the team was able to build improvements to the feedback pipeline and further streamline how they can iterate and build patches to hotfix items mid-flight. This is something that they are working on constantly to improve, and they're continually striving to be quicker and more efficient to respond to issues raised by the community as is moved forward to a more live service model. As we approach and look towards the future of the game updates the team is planning to release, we want to discuss the status of some of the hot topics shared with some insight to what you can expect. Okay, now the article continues on to discuss the issues that the community were having during the flight and how they were addressed. The first one we're going to go ahead and talk about is mouse input issues. The flight that was just completed was behind the current release code base, so many of the improvements have already been implemented and should address a lot of the feedback that was said. The team is currently investigating and iterating on multiple ways to further improve mouse and keyboard input between now and launch. Early results from initial testing ratings 1 and 2 are very promising, and the team is confident in how these investigations are progressing. They're committed to making this a great PC experience and will continue to iterate on mouse and keyboard changes and flighting them post-launch. If needed, as we look towards launch on December 3rd, we feel that the overall mouse input will be greatly improved over what many experienced in Flight 3. The article moves on to controller aim assist on PC. We're not currently planning to make changes to the auto aim when using a controller on PC. The team is currently investigating the best way to handle input types, keyboard and mouse controller or both, when playing. If we can make any changes to magnetism and auto aim assist values for controllers, it will close some doors and create a new set of challenges to work through. We have heard the community about a suggested opt-in option and are discussing the impacts this would have on matchmaking by splitting the population and increasing search times. If we do choose to pursue a opt-in feature after launch, it will require a bit of good time design in test for implementing, and of course, if any such changes are made, it would also need to go through the flighting, additional feedback, and validation. Halo has been on PC before, and looking back to CE and Halo 2 PC titles, both shipped with a similar level of controller and mouse magnetism and aim assist. Players on these titles could play with a controller or mouse or keyboard against each other, just like what's offered in Reach today. There are two key design mechanics at play, depending on which method of input a player uses in Halo Reach. Player magnetism is what gives the reticle a gentle nudge to stick to a hit location. Pretty much every shooter on the market has some degree of magnetism to assist players. This code only applies to controllers because it is substantially harder to aim with a controller relative to the precision offered by a mouse. Aim assist is a degree of bullet bending that is applied when players shoot at opponents to ensure that the shot is close enough and registers as a hit, is core to how Halo weapons like the Needler work. This code, same across both controller and mouse and keyboard inputs. The article moves into veritable frame rates. In the last PC flight, we were able to further test our experiments implementation of veritable frame rate VFR, and the feature does not meet our quality of expectations. We always knew and stated that some of these features would be a bit dicey given the underlying games are 9 years old in this case and were designed to run at 30 frames per second on a fixed platform, the Xbox 360. The way VFR was built for Halo Reach on PC created a variety of negative side effects and issues ranging from increased mouse input delay, which is the opposite of what should happen, to stability. The team has been hard at work fundamentally improving, which are showing very promising results in the Ring 1 and 2 flighting. We know that this is a very important feature for the community. With some recent refinements, VFR will be included at launch. That is in bold. Based on the recent improvements receiving positive feedbacks, we wanted players to have the option to use the experimental VFR option on day one. We look forward to your feedback and will continue to monitor this closely post-launch. Wow. I got to be honest, I'm a little bit shocked that the veritable frame rates are going to be available, especially since of the issues that they said that, that they're experiencing. They know that there's going to be a problem is what I'm saying. Article moves into audio issues. To update Halo Reach for Xbox One and PC required entirely changing the encoding for the game's audio, which has resulted in it sounding different from the original release. We are aware that areas of the title don't sound like what you or we ideally want them to be. It'll take some time to work through solutions to improve overall experience for audio. That works is already underway. When it is ready, we will flight to test the fix and make prior changes to the updated title. We also plan to go into more detail on Halo Reach's audio journey in a later blog. We did recently fix an audio issue with dynamic audio that we also saw some of the community report. This fix will be in for launch and has been reported to be improving in our Rings 1 and 2 flights. With server latency issues, this topic was one that had received many tickets over the duration of the last flight. To help address players having poor matchmaking experiences, we are planning to upgrade the servers and the data centers for launch. We will also continue to investigate and make improvements based on reports surrounding server latency, delays, and various network-related issues before launch. We intend to have several improvements made before December 3rd. But since we feel that this is in an area that can always be improved on, we'll continue listening and chasing down reports and doing additional work as needed. We also are planning to speak on this more in a later blog. Server selection. We understand that players from all over the world want to compete on equal footing, and we have to do work to improve the server experience for players in some regions that Halo is played in. Beyond the improvements listed above, we also want to offer more choices in how players connect to servers in Halo the MCC. We will look to offer ways for players to specify preferences. We need to find a good balance between loading and balancing servers, ensuring a healthy matchmaking population, and going to give players more ways to choose where they want to play. We will continue to listen and explore options for improving the multiplayer experience in Halo the MCC month over month. Push to talk. We will have an initial implementation of this for launch on PC. For now, this will be hard bound to the V key, and pressing and holding the V key will enable the mic to talk. Releasing it turns off your mic. On console, your mic will always be on, but we are looking to expand push to talk to consoles as part of our post-launch work. VSync. Based on user reports associated with the setting, we identified an issue with VSync in some scenarios where it was not functioning appropriately. In some cases, it was not being appropriately turned off and added additional input latency because of it. We believe we have fixed this issue and we'll discuss it again more in the future, and we will continue to monitor feedback after launch and address concerns and bugs that may come up with this feature. Getting stuck in menus and crashes. We believe these known issues reported during the flight have been fixed for launch. The team has spent a significant amount of time investigating and resolving issues related to this over the past 2 weeks. Many of these were resolved and most mid-flight update, but the ones that we have investigated and were able to reproduce have been fixed at this time. Now, I think it is worth noting that, again, I hadn't had my hand in this last PC flight. I was invited. Unfortunately, I was unable to participate. However, when participating in the Xbox One flight that they had, there was one bug that I ran into continuously. It was an audio glitch where after you would complete a multiplayer match, the sound of the credits filling up in the bar would continue to play over and over and over and over and over again. And it didn't matter if you jumped into another match. You basically had to close the title and then reopen it again for this to stop. So, I mean, that being the only bug that I personally ran into, I feel is great. And knowing that it's fixed, is great too. The article then moves into seasonal progression. So let's go ahead and take a look at this information here. It starts off by saying, thank you to everyone who has given us feedback on the new progression system in MCC. When we looked at adding in a progression system, we knew that we needed to deliver something that preserved the spirit of Halo Reach while laying the foundation for a more modern system that will grow and support multiple games. Unfortunately, we couldn't reuse any of the work from Halo Reach's progression UI and services on Xbox 360 in terms of technology, as it was optimized and designed for the Xbox 360 hardware and ecosystem. We also wanted to improve the aspect of the original system by separating player XP and currency, promoting gameplay in line with team goals, so Griffball can return to its greatness among other playlists, reducing the grind to unlock customization and making it clear what unlock path is, along with centralizing where all the unlocks come from. We recognize that the current implementation doesn't deliver on one aspect that people liked about the old system: greater choice in the unlock order. We will always look to add ways to address this in the future. An early version of our progression system went live in the recent flight, and we've realized we've been analyzing feedback and data ever since. In the early days of the flight, we noticed that even players who were playing a lot of games were not advancing through the ranks as quickly as we expected. We dug into the data further and discussed what could be done. We made an XP update to the values and awarded each game mode for each medal, and things were looking closer to where we hope XP progression would be. We are now analyzing the full flight data and making our final launch adjustments. Thank you to everyone who played and offered feedback on the earn rate of XP in a flight. Our goal is to have players unlock all of the Halo Reach seasonal items within a reasonable time frame and in a far less than it took the original to earn them in the version of Halo Reach on Xbox 360. With respect to unlocks, we have ensured that the MCC includes all the content that was ever playable in Halo Reach on 360, including the ones that were previously tied to pre-orders, limited editions, and limited time grants. We are even digging through the vault to see what else we could possibly offer at a later time. In addition, we have heard the feedback about all the new seasonal panels, and we have added into the MCC, and we are continuing to polish and improve the presentation and interactions on the screen. In particular, we are looking to add unique preview for each item in the season panel so that it's easier to understand exactly what you will receive at each tier. On the customization front, we will look to make further improvements to the navigation and preview of the character armors and models coming in future updates. Another important point to keep in mind is that our first season is focused on Halo Reach, but we will have more seasons in the future. When a season changes, you will not lose progress, season points, or unlocks. You will be able to earn season points across multiple titles, even if the season is not themed for that title. What we have shown in the flight is that our initial implementation of the progression system in Halo MCC, and we will be bringing in more ways to earn season points via challenges along with all new items in Halo MCC in the future. We have also heard feedback that players miss the ability to choose unlocks in items or order. In addition to future seasons offering more ways to spend season currency, the team is investigating additional ways to offer choices in how content unlocks going forward. Please note that the ranks will not correspond to the item and unlocks in one-to-one fashion. Season points are currently awarded for the first 100 ranks increases, and future season currency will be earned via the challenge system. Please continue to share your feedback once Halo Reach launches on December 3rd, and we will keep you updated as we work and the progression systems with future updates. So, as we all can see, there has been a lot of work done on Halo Reach over the last month. It's nice to see that they've been able to cure all the PC bugs that people have been complaining about and reasons that a lot of big YouTubers, and myself included, thought that maybe the game should have been delayed until these were fixed. So it's nice to know that they've already taken care of a lot of the problems that many of us were worried about. But as always, don't forget, in order to be part of the conversation and to have your voice heard, hit that subscribe button. If you found any informative value or enjoyed the video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, thank you for sticking around as long as you have. But until next time, everyone, thank you all for joining me here today, and I'll see all of you in the next video.